I usually never follow anything British, but I gotta tell you, there's just something about Chicken Run that is very, I now I think about it, very personal, like really personal to me, because not in a sense like seeing it with my family or anything. I want to take you guys to the past when I first saw this, somewhere when I was like God, I knew I still was a baby probably. Shoot, that's the one thing that I probably relate to Molly of, just like a kid action, just already standing up. Pretty much, I guess I was in that age too as an infant, like playing Chicken Run, the first Chicken Run back in 2005 for the, what is it? Man, I still remember the count. 30 times, 40 times. My goodness, I still remember the amount of times that I replay Chicken Run. I keep playing it. And it was the day when VHS was a thing. And I know that pretty much outdates me of just like showing my age. Yep, VHS. Growing up in those times. Those were the days. You kids have no idea. With a VHS, with a freaking floppy disk, or freaking like iMac, or the what is it, the iPod or something. Man, those days. But I grew up in that time, and I remember like watching Chicken Run. That was literally like I watched that so many times. I don't know if I remember beat by beat because it's just been so long, but I always remember the ending of just like, Ginger versus Miss Tweety, and that cutting rope, that ending where I was always curious of like, what is next for Chicken Run? What is going on later on when they live in this village? Like, how are their lives doing? 23 years later, and here we are, or at least 19 years later, or how many years? Basically, decades later. And here we are in 2023 watching Chicken Run. It's kind of surreal, almost in pretty much would almost count as like, like like half of 3 decades or something, because 2024 is almost here. But man, it's been this long. It's been so long since I see the faces of Ginger, of Rocky, of the rats, of, oh my god, it's, I don't know what it is. There's just something emotional of just something that you've seen a long time ago. And I get this whole market of nostalgia and people just, you know, sort of like profiting of like people's nostalgia in a sense. And there's so many other stuff where they can do with that. And I see a lot of good in it other than bad. But for Chicken Run, I was worried. I was like, I hope this is good. I hope this is worth it, because there's a part of me where it might not be, but I was really hoping. And when I saw the movie, I, oh my god, spoilers for basically this video. I loved it. I adore it. I miss it so much, and it is everything. This is the best movie to me. The best animation, whatever you may call it. Like, it is my favorite because it, it's taking me back. It's almost like the characters never left. It almost felt like we were back in the 2000s. And man, did I love this movie. Like, pretty much, there were some like gimmicks and some stuff that is samey here and there that I keep seeing that is kind of like overplayed in most movies, especially when it comes to heist movies itself, into that like child effect. But they do a lot of creative stuff where a couple of things within the heist where you kind of see the skill set of Ginger's plans, and also most of the chickens and what they're good at in terms of breaking in or breaking out, because this story is basically about Ginger breaking in just to save her daughter, and seeing Molly, pretty much Molly being the child of Rocky and Ginger as they get, have a baby together, and having this, this little infant that is very reminiscent to Ginger in terms of freedom, and like that freedom. kind of takes a hold of Ginger, wondering what's in the other side of the island. And in this trap island, she managed to sail all the way to the mainland to basically go to factory, this factory that happens to be like I don't know what it is. It's a paradise or something. I know it's a factory. I know it's a factory that happens to just be like a place where mostly you it mutilates chicken. Let's be honest. It's a factory to help like other businesses that because now realizing this and there's like this sad fact about this movie that I kind of like came to terms with that you know yes, it is true that humans eat a lot of chicken. We eat a lot of chicken, but man, this movie kind of really, there's a sense of like part of me which doesn't exist because for those that don't know, pretty much being vegan was something that I kind of like, sort of lean into, in my lifetime, and I always fail, and pretty much like it sort of brings this like and it doesn't really shoe in or anything but this like oh we shouldn't eat meat or something or save the chickens save the save we shouldn't eat the species or whatever it is and I sort of like I can definitely see people that are like vegan and pro what is it called pro animal helping people or whatever, like stop eating animals or something like that, like, vegans would be like, yes, this is what I've been trying to tell the world. I can almost see that. But for me, yeah, I kind of see that from a double perspective. Like, yeah, if I was vegan, I'd probably be cheering. But I cheer for this movie because I always have watched the first ever Chicken Run more times than Harry Potter. I watch all the old school Harry Potters, but man, for this Chicken Run itself, I just watched the amount of like plays. I still remember like when I'm done with it, I play it again. It would just be like hour after hour of playing the the same movie, the same and here's the thing, that's the only thing I could ever think about Chicken Run is me just playing the play button again and again and yeah, pretty much it never gets old. I just still think about it to this day. And for this movie itself, it's like it's almost like, yeah, I completely forgot about Chicken Run. But man, it almost felt like this could have been something that I was like for those that were really waiting for a Chicken Run this long, because I heard it takes a lot to actually produce the whole entire movie because it's claymation. They must be relieved and happy to the utmost joy because it lives up to that kind of excitement, I guess. And I never realized it, but it's also setting up a new at least this is what I predict. It's setting up a new world for like Molly and Frizzle and pretty much it could be setting up for their future of what's next for the Chicken Run series, at least for new generation. Because here's the thing, I never thought that Mel Gibson would come back to this. I never thought that any voice actors for Ginger or the Three Chickens or the old chicken too, the general or even the rest like I don't they sound the same. Like I'm like, "Oh my god, I remember these voices." Like I never thought that anyone would come back because it's just been so long. Like where has time have gone? I feel like this could have been like a very big theater opening. But at the same time it's not. It's just in its own lane in a sense. And seeing Miss Tweenie again, that was it's like I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was like, oh gosh, she's still scary, terrifying, but the excitement of it, oh man, I just miss her. Even though, like, I never thought I really would hate her, but I always loved her as a villain. Like, I love that about her. Like there's something about it. I don't know what's up with her with dating a bunch of guys though. I'm just trying to understand that. Like where did this husband came from? And also, I didn't realize we were still in the UK too. I thought we were like some other nation or something, like in the US, but I guess not. So yeah, this movie is just perfect. I don't want to spoil much because I feel like you should definitely watch it and witness it for yourself. But you gotta actually watch the first Chicken Run. We're talking about back in 2000, because that one was dark. That one was gritty. A quick review of that, man, it really still lives up. It still is like gritty and still, brings a lot of so many interesting impacts to it. Like for movies like this, it's just really what really to sum it up, at least for me, is it's interesting and it's also strategic. Like I guess in a ways where it's like it brings every mix, like they really did plan everything out. You kind of see how all the work is like everything is like cleverly played out very well in the story. Like especially in this, scene where Rocky was showing how to make popcorn or something with certain artifacts and uses that later on the movie. And I'm like, that is pretty clever. That is clever saying that, oh, popcorn, this is like, oh, the like he said something about like, oh, it's the life and like uh cure to life or whatever he said, and then he uses that impact within later on in the movie, and I'm like, I see what you did there. There's a lot of spots within this movie where I'm like, oh, I see what you did there. But you have to watch it to actually really get a full impact of it, especially if you're a fan of Chicken Run, or at least in my sense, I wouldn't say fan of Chicken Run. I would say Chicken Run was a big thing in my past. And seeing this again, it was like, man, you have never changed. You never change. And I don't know, there's just something emotional about it's kind of like seeing a friend where, damn, I haven't seen you in like 10 years. Where have you been? I was like, I don't know, man. You look the same like I remembered you. And that's kind of like the effect when I had when I went to abroad to see my family and I was like, "Oh wow, you haven't changed. Well, it's nice seeing you again." It gives me that effect about this movie. And that's why this movie to me was it's if I gotta have to be honest, it's a 10. It's a 10 for me. Okay. It's a 10 out of 10. I love it. I adore it. I'm not even a fan of it. But man, all of a sudden I am again because it's a thrill. It's a thrill for most people that were there when Chicken Run was a thing. And I heard Chicken Run did big numbers back in the day. I did not know that. But other than that, I grew up with these like shows, Wallace and Gromit, and also, of course, Chicken Run added that to the list. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. I just had to bring this in terms of like, through my heart, and also just seeing it again is just trippy. It's like, wow, what a time to be alive to actually still witness this. Is especially imagine if they said like, oh, we're not going to finish this in the next 23 years. I probably wouldn't be alive, but I am, and witnessing this. Yep, praise God. Anyways, I'll see you when I see you. Definitely watch Chicken Run. It's definitely worth it. One love and a peace.